Hey, what is up? So for this video, I wanted to take a look at a recent interview Bob Odenkirk did with the New York Times Magazine, where he hinted at how the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul is going to end. Alright, so Bob Odenkirk stated in this interview, quote, "I think it's a challenging way to go to finish the series. It's not flashy, it's substantial, and on some level, it's things I hoped for years in this character's brain. On the other hand, I have to read it again, but what I like about it is it's not cheap, it's not easy, it doesn't feel cartoonish, it's pretty great, I think. It's pretty great." On top of this quote, Bob Odenkirk then added in this interview, quote, "I would want to end with this kind of character development focus. That's what it's about, instead of something that has just guns in it. I guess there's a few guns, but they're not like in other episodes." So obviously here Bob Odenkirk was rather vague regarding the ending of season 6, but it definitely appears that there won't be any on-screen blaze of glory for the plot of Gene Takovic, to say the least. Which in my opinion, absolutely seems like the correct choice for the creators here, and I actually quite like the idea of focusing more on character development as opposed to many scenes of great flash and pizzazz. On top of that, I even find this character development to be even more important than any potential cameo appearances from the plot of Breaking Bad that we may see next season, but that's a conversation for another video. That being said, this character development focus also makes me think of a tweet that Ray Seahorn responded to a few months back when someone on Twitter asked her, quote, "Give me one word that describes season 6, to which she responded, quote, "Devastating." And so I definitely think that this Bob Odenkirk interview now reinforces the notion that this on-screen devastation that Ray Seahorn is referring to refers to more of the deterioration of their relationship between Jimmy and Kim, and not so much a devastation of an on-screen scene of death of Kim, per se. And to further reiterate this sort of deterioration of this relationship that I definitely think is part of this character development that Bob Odenkirk is alluding to next season in the plot of season 6 of Better Call Saul, this deterioration I really feel like is almost essential based on how much foreshadowing it appears that the ending of this relationship between these two characters has been displayed to us on screen in the plot of Better Call Saul so far. Most notably, in my opinion, during the cold opening montage scene in the episode entitled Something Stupid in season 4 of Better Call Saul, where we see Jimmy and Kim in bed together at the end of the scene, and as part of the scene, we see Kim fade to black next to Jimmy. Of course, this being reinforced by the fact that Kim Wexler is nowhere to be found and is never mentioned in the plot of Breaking Bad surrounding the storyline of Saul Goodman. And so while I do feel that there might be a somewhat strong contingent of people who might want Jimmy and Kim to somehow stay together despite everything that we know about Saul Goodman's character from the plot of Breaking Bad, I just really feel that all of the clues we have regarding this theory is just sort of telling us there's no way we're going to see this happen on screen as we see the continued development of these two characters in the final season of Better Call Saul. But at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, and we'll get the full story on what happens in just a few months from now. But yeah, to sort of sum up this sort of mention of character development that Bob Odenkirk states in this interview, and how season 6 is heavily focused on character and plot development as opposed to the scenes of guns and things of that nature, I just keep thinking about how seemingly warranted all of this development is based on the incredibly large number of open-ended plots that still need to be addressed before the conclusion of this series, in addition to the plot of Jimmy and Kim. And some of these plots, just to name a few, include what will happen to Gene Takovic, what will happen surrounding the plot of Nacho, Lalo, and Saul that was set up from the plot of Breaking Bad, and how will Gus, Mike, and the cartel factor into this plot as well. Not to mention, there's an entire aspect of this plot involving Nacho's father that will have to be addressed at some point next season as well, that's going to take time on screen to do so. On top of this, Another plot we need to see addressed is what will happen to the plot of Howard Hamlin and Jimmy and Kim's attempt to get him disbarred as it relates to the Sandpiper Crossing settlement. Another plot is what will happen with the plot of the Super Lab that was hardly mentioned at all in the plot of Season 5. This plot needs a conclusion to happen on screen as well seemingly next season. Also, what will be the ultimate fate of Lalo based on the backstory of Breaking Bad, which I have discussed in depth in a previous video, which based on the dialogue of Gus Fring is maybe already somewhat determined, but nonetheless we still need to see this scene materialize on screen. Not to mention, there's many additional details from the plot of Breaking Bad surrounding the backstory of Saul Goodman that could theoretically be introduced as well next season, i.e. the plot of Vamanos Pest, as well as the introduction of Saul Goodman's Inner Circle A-Team member, Patrick Kuby. So what I'm trying to get at here is that I really feel that the creators almost have but no choice but to focus primarily on this character development that Bob Odenkirk is discussing about in this interview, because there's still so much that still needs to be resolved on screen next season. And like Bob Odenkirk stated in this interview, while there will be quote-unquote a few guns, there will be even more character development. And it truly makes sense because any additional plot that is brought up in the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul will also thus need to be developed and displayed on screen, because if not, then why bring it up in the plot of season 6 at all, in my opinion? With there being so much other plot that has already been introduced and still needs to be addressed before the conclusion of the series. So yeah, all that being said, there's a lot to think about here as we head into the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul in just a few months from now, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing all of this on screen without a doubt. I've absolutely loved this show as a spin-off prequel to the plot of Breaking Bad, and I'm really excited to see how all of these plots that have been building up and have been set in motion for 5 entire seasons of Better Call Saul will ultimately end. Alright, that's all I got. I'll definitely be making many more videos about Better Call Saul prior to the premiere of Season 6 in just a few months from now, and I really appreciate you for watching these videos. As always, my name is Anton Jackson. Thank you again so much for watching.